The Essential Bible, Day 3 of 21. On the first day, we looked at the story from Genesis 1 of how God created the world in 6 days and everything was perfect. And then on the second day, we looked at 2 of the stories from the next 10 chapters of Genesis, which describe how everything goes wrong with the world and relationships between people are broken, and also the relationships between people and God. We looked at the stories of Adam and Eve and Noah and the flood. In those chapters we could have also looked at the story of Cain and Abel, where the first murder occurred, or the story of the Tower of Babel. Today, and indeed in the whole of the rest of the story of the Bible, we're going to be looking at how God's unfolding plan for restoring perfect relationships is put into effect. It begins with God choosing Abraham and making a covenant with him that through his numerous descendants, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. The story of Abraham can be found in chapters 12 to 25 of Genesis. We begin today by looking at extracts from Psalm 105, encountering the God who makes promises. Give thanks to the Lord and proclaim his greatness. Tell the nations what he has done. Sing to him, sing praises to him. Tell all about his wonderful acts. He is the Lord our God. His laws are for all the world. He will keep his agreement forever. He will keep the promise he made for 1,000 generations. He will keep the agreement he made with Abraham and the promise he made to Isaac. He made it a law for the people of Jacob. He made it an agreement with the people of Israel to last forever. God makes a covenant with Abraham and provides a hope for the future. According to the Bible, there were 10 generations from Adam to Noah, and a further 10 generations from Noah to Abraham. Some Christians believe this information is literally true, whilst others believe that it is metaphorical to set out the story of the impact of man's sin and God's working through a particular line to continue his message to the world. The covenant with Abraham. God appeared to Abraham when he was 99 years old and said, I am God Almighty. Obey me and do what is right, and I will make a covenant with you. I will give you many descendants, and they will become a great nation. I will make you the father of many nations, and I will change your name from Abram, meaning exalted father, to Abraham, meaning father of a multitude. Kings will be among your descendants. I am making an everlasting covenant with you and your descendants. From now on, I will be your God, and also the God of your descendants forever. Also, I will give all this land of Canaan, where you are living as a foreigner, to you and your descendants forever. Then God said to Abraham, your wife's name will no longer be Sarai, for I am changing it to Sarah, meaning princess. I will bless her, and she will give you a son. She will be the mother of many nations, and kings will be among her descendants. Then Abraham bowed face down to the ground, and he laughed, as he thought, how can a son be born to a man who is 100 years old? And how can Sarah, who is 99 years old, give birth to a son? So Abraham said to God, may Ishmael, my son by Hagar, Sarah's maidservant, have your blessing. But God replied, no, your wife Sarah will have a son, and you are to name him Isaac, meaning laughter. My everlasting covenant will be with him and all his descendants. However, I have heard you, and will bless Ishmael also. I will make his descendants into a great nation, and they will include 12 great leaders. But I will make my covenant with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear about this time next year. Then, just as God had promised, at the exact time God had said it would happen, Sarah gave birth to a son a year later, and Abraham named him Isaac. Abraham's faith is tested. Is he willing to sacrifice Isaac, his beloved son? Sometime later, God tested Abraham, saying to him, "Take your precious son Isaac, the son who you love so much, and go to the land of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I will show you." Early the next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey with wood he had chopped for the burnt offering. He took Isaac and 2 of his servants with him, and went to the place God had told him to go. After 3 days, Abraham saw the place in the distance. He instructed his 2 servants to stay with the donkey, and said, "My son and I will go over there to worship, and then we will come back to you." The 2 of them went on together. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and gave it to Isaac to carry, while he carried the knife and the fire. Then Isaac said to Abraham, "We have the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham replied, "God will provide a lamb for the burnt offering, my son." Abraham built an altar and arranged the wood on it when they reached the place God had told Abraham to go to. Then Abraham bound his son Isaac and laid him on the wood on the altar. Abraham took his knife and was about to sacrifice Isaac when an angel of God called to him from heaven, saying, "Abraham, Abraham, don't kill your son or harm him in any way, for now I know that you truly trust God, for you have not withheld your precious son." Then Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in a thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. Then the angel of God called again to Abraham from heaven, saying, "This is what God says. I declare that because you have done this thing and have not withheld even your precious son, I will bless you. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars of the sky and the sand on the seashore. Because you obeyed me, your descendants will conquer the cities of their enemies, and through them all the nations of the earth will be blessed." The testing of Abraham's faith in this way is a difficult story for us to understand. The request by God for Abraham to sacrifice Isaac does not fit with our picture of a loving God, but the story points us forward to the day when God himself makes the ultimate loving sacrifice of his Son, Jesus. Coming up next time, we have the first of 2 sessions, looking at encountering the God who delivers his people from slavery. We begin with the birth of Moses and his calling by God.